It looks like we're stuck with the tariffs that we've got, with the government failing to score a better deal after the foreign minister's trip to Washington this week. Unless things change next week, we will see that baseline 10% tariff kick in from our friends in America. Cheers. Joining us live now, Deputy Nationals Leader Kevin Hogan, Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young. Good morning to you both. So, Kevin, look, it's still at the lower end of the scale. So can we take that as a smallish win?
No, Pete, we can't. It was a very disappointing visit by Wong. No update on the AUKUS review, nothing on tariffs. And let's remember that the UK and other countries have had an exemption from the 50% steel and aluminium tariffs. We're still up at that rate of that, and other countries have got an exemption from that. So nothing from this visit. And the other thing, Pete, that I think is really disappointing is there's nothing from Wong's visit except a photo opportunity. But I think what we're seeing now, we have to realise, is that Prime Minister Albanese is a bit player and all but inconsequential on the world stage with America and others. And it's very disappointing because that hasn't always been the case for Australian Prime Ministers.
Well, you mentioned, Penny Wong, and Angus Taylor said this yesterday too, that she's come home empty-handed. But is that on her, or should it be on the Americans who are not giving us anything?
Well, I think what it shows, Penny Wong, with all due respect to Penny Wong, is the Foreign Minister. We know that America is working leader to leader, and I think this all, and Albanese has to own all this. They're doing a review into AUKUS America. They've obviously put the pause on tariffs, which expires next week. Has the Prime Minister even been able to secure a phone call? Has he requested a phone call with the President? We know he hasn't got a meeting, and a lot of other leaders have had physical meetings with the President. I don't think the Prime Minister can even secure a phone call right now. And look, he's a bit player. He's inconsequential. That
is true. Sarah, it's odd, right, that we haven't been able to meet him, or that the Prime Minister hasn't been able to secure FaceTime with him since he won the election. Do you feel like something's wrong behind the scenes or not?
Well, look, I think, you just got to wonder what we'd get out of a meeting anyway, frankly, Pete. And the world has changed. Donald Trump has fundamentally changed the way the US engages with countries right around the world, but particularly how they engage with people who are meant to be their friends. We've seen how they've treated the Ukraine. We've seen how they're treating Europe. We can see how they've treated Canada. Australia is not special in this. But of course we need to be finding ways of engagement, but we also need to be finding ways to diversify our relationships with others. We can't just rely on the US in terms of trade. These tariffs are clearly designed to, kind of send a message to countries like Australia. We need to be engaging with other partners. We need to be building our trade relationships, like China, with South Korea, with Europe. We need to be looking at how we strengthen those trade relationships. But also, and to this point of, this meeting with Penny Wong and the US and in relation to AUKUS, well, isn't it weird? I'll tell you what's odd. The UK are having an inquiry into AUKUS. The US is having a review into AUKUS, and yet Australia, who is the country who is front-loading the spending, billions of taxpayers' money, we're not reviewing it or inquiring into it at all. That's what's odd, and that's what we need to see. So when Parliament resumes in the next couple of weeks, we'll be pushing for a proper inquiry into AUKUS.
Hey, I've got to go, but Sarah, I just want to get you on this because there's a report this morning that says the Greens might be open to an alternative super tax plan rather than the tax on unrealised gains. That's the 20% slug on all super accounts with a 5% discount for those under 3 mil. This sounds like a better deal, which will also raise more revenue. Are you likely to support that or not?
Look, we are, we're still in conversations with the government. The ball's in their court. What's on the table is their policy. We've said we've got a few issues with it, like the lack of indexation. We'd like the threshold to be lowered, of course. But we're always open to new ideas and policies. But really, the ball is in the government's court on this one, Pete. And, when we get back to Parliament, we'll see where it lands.